Okay, I'm going to start this recording. This needs to be heard. I went to the other, back to the other Idle and More News original one. It's still down for some reason. It's not allowing people to view it. It's not allowing people to access the broadcast. So if someone could just let me know, Candace, if you're out there, let me know how many people are tuning in right now to this alternate broadcast. So that... Okay. I'm going to have to do this pretty quick, I guess. How many people on this site? How many people are here? Candace, Facebook me. Okay, Tiffany as well. Marianne, we also have another moderator. If one of you can let me know how many people are tuning in right now, or if someone's watching, let me know. Okay, about 50 viewers, so that's about half of what we had before. So we're just going to let the awareness of what happened, just recap what happened. We just got shut down on the other broadcasts. For some reason, it's still not working. I went back just to verify, and yes, it is indeed down. So that's very interesting, to say the least. So basically, we're going to start. We're going to have to start really quick. Everyone tuning in probably heard the original message about the about my statement, my position on the Idle No More movement. Where I stand is with the founders. We're working together with the founders, a couple of organizations, groups of Aboriginal music artists and others that are working together with the founders, who are overseeing all our project developments and stuff like that. So that's going to be something we're going to talk about later on. Okay, so we're going to start right on. Great. Okay, this legislation that this totally messed up my flow. I had it going. I have no sound on my computer, Rochelle Adams. I have no sound on my computer, so it must be something with my microphone. I don't know if I can do much about that. So we're going to get started. Basically, this legislation. We'll provide you with links at the end, a great video on basically what the treaty, what this legislation, the Bill C-45 represents in relation to our treaty rights. This is a great video. A lot of great information are out there that we're going to provide for you to keep this teaching focused and more compact, take up less of your time, and be more suited to what we're basic new developments and whatnot. We're going to focus on other things, but basically what I can say about the legislation and the bills, such as Bill C-45, is that Section 35 of the Indian Act, I believe it is, or Section 35. If I'm wrong, let me know. If I make any mistakes, we can correct them. I apologize if I make any mistakes, but this is all about learning. So. Section 35 recognizes our treaty rights. So the government in Canada actually has legislation validating our treaty rights, and it makes provisions so that any changes cannot happen to these treaty rights, that they cannot be changed without consultation. With Bill C-45 and many other legislations that are still coming together, they are basically doing it without our consent. Is dictating to us basically what we're basically our future represents for both our nations. We're sovereign nations. That's the thing, is that people must understand, is that we are a sovereign people, and the treaties are our basic evidence of that, proof of that. And Section 35 protects that and proves that as well in the legal system that Canada has set up. Now, many people have different ideas about what we should be doing, and that's one of the very things that we want to address as well. Is that even though we may disagree, there's a lot of disagreement within Idle No More. What we come to realize now, what I've come to realize personally, this is my own personal opinion, is that we're so diverse in our views that instead of making someone right or wrong, we should focus on voicing our views finding people who agree with us and collaborating with them to enact the solutions that we're presenting and that we want to see. And the way I see it, every effort to further the idle no more cause is a good thing. So I'm not talented in or skilled in advocating for idle no more. For example, in Roblox, like I'm not. That's not my thing. So that's not to say that that's a bad example to say like anything else, right? Like I'm not good anywhere else, but this thing, what I'm doing right now is kind of what I'm good at. So I offer my gifts and talents there. Everyone has different gifts and talents, and they have different places where they can contribute. And we should, I think, focus more on working together rather than trying to find agreement. Rather than trying to find agreement between our views, we should help each other, support each other, because if we can come at this from different angles, many different angles, all the better, right? It only helps the cause. We're all after the same thing. So with that said, I'm going to get started with the other stuff. The corporation's history. I want to get into a little bit of a brief history of the corporation's history. I talked about this in the first one, and I'll provide links as well. There's already links that we provided, but the corporation's history is very important when it comes to colonialism and the mechanisms that they've enacted. The corporation is actually a mechanism of colonialism. It's designed to basically, if you look into the foundation of it, when it started in the early 1600s. When it started in the early 1600s, the East Indian Company was the original corporation, and quite coincidentally, the first recipient of the original bailout. So that's where all this basically began. But the East Indian Company and the other countries recognized their need to gain land and resources, because land and resources equaled money, gold, and power. So the corporation was invented because they didn't want to have like low landing permits in order to do trade with other countries. The corporation was invented that so that it will allow them to come onto another nation's country, another nation's land, and basically take over their land and resources for profit. And with the FIPA treaties and what's happening right now with Bill C-45, that is exactly what is happening with corporations. The FIPA Treaty basically allows China to come in. They bought Canadian oil company Nexen, and the FIPA Treaty locks us into a 31-year deal, which allows China to basically dictate to us what they decide to do to the environment, which includes the building of a pipeline. That's actually something I wouldn't. That's something that's not entirely true, but I wouldn't doubt that that's the case, that they're trying to build a pipeline and use the FIPA Treaty as their legal power and representation to do so. So the corporation started in the 1600s when they first, of course, they discovered our land. Well, we discovered Christopher Columbus lost at sea, and since then, I believe the corporation was, this is my personal view, that the corporation was designed specifically to rob us of our lands and resources. They basically traded textiles with different people with China, and they traded it for slaves for Africa, which basically funded the entire African slavery era within the United States. So the corporation has been, from the beginning, this very foundation has been a very destructive element to mankind. And now with the recent FIPA Treaty, it is now set to destroy the entire planet. The issues that we're facing with Bill C-45 are not just affecting us. It's not just us that's doing this. I've sent a letter that received a response from Osgood Law Professor Gus Van Harden. And he explained to me that we aren't the only ones going through this, that many other countries, organizations, and people have been sued in what's called investor arbitration. In the past year alone, 400 new cases sprung up, a dramatic shift from since 1999, only 20 or 45 cases or so. So the Corporate Observatory of Europe released a report called Profiting from Injustice, entailing how investment arbitration is allowing lawyers to legally enable the destruction of the environment. And they are basically suing people who oppose these legislations and these corporate oil interests in international courts outside their the country's jurisdiction. So that means no one is safe by their own country's laws, that they can be taken outside of those laws and effectively sued. So that's what we're basically facing. That's the nature of the beast of this corporation that has risen from many years ago, from the early 1600s. Good news on that, we have a link resource to the brief history of the corporation you can look at. They found out that the corporation is actually on a decline. That is actually the prevalence and the dominance of the corporation is now in decline, which means it allows for new developments, new things to take its place. And I believe that is a good thing, as long as there's good people that can guide it. But anyways, I digress. That's basically what we're facing around the world. Now, this teaching is going to be a little bit different. The issues on Bill C-45 and the unconstitutional legislation are simple and as follows. It basically removes the right to consultation on our waters. The bill's titles are made that way to make people believe that the chiefs are standing up for their own money, and that is not the case. That is the government's way of hiding the legislation within the bills that exist, and they're there to take away the rights consultation concerning our land and water, and they removed the protection of about 2.5 million lakes and rivers all over Canada. Harper government did that just this month, as well as exit the Kyoto Protocol. So they're basically paving the way for our lands and waters to be wiped out, and our treaty rights, which are protected in Section 35, I believe of the Indian Act. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Section 35 states that they must consult First Nations before they make any amendments to our agreements, and these bills are basically without consultation. And so that's basically what the bills that we're facing, and why it matters to Canadians, why it matters to the world, considering investor arbitration is allowing this around the world. So this teaching will cover other things. We'll provide you with links so that you can get educated. You can share them with other people. They are very, very concise, very informative, and they will basically help explain these issues in depth, more in depth. And there's many resources that we'll provide you a link for later on. But this teaching is going to talk about a couple developments, some new developments with the Idle No More movement, especially in relation to recent news reports about the Idle No More movement being idle, that we're not doing anything, that we're just whining and complaining. So that's definitely going to be something that is going to be I'm going to address, and you're going to be very interested in that. So basically, a lot of this presentation is going to cover relationship building. It's going to cover ally building. A lot of people wanted to know how to ally with First Nations. Non-Aboriginal people want to know how to ally with First Nations people, and they want to know how they can do that in a way that is not doesn't infringe on anyone's sensibilities, that everything remains respectful. They just want to know how they can help out. So we're going to briefly discuss that, talk about that in ways that we can do that, and many other things that people have been talking to me about, expressions that they need to know about. We're going to start off with the possible new focus, these new developments. This is very important because it involves all of Idle No More. There is a group right now. I'm involved with a couple of groups, at least a couple of groups that involve Aboriginal musicians, Aboriginal people just basically established in their chosen profession. So they have their expertise and their experience within their areas. And we're working together with all these Aboriginal musicians and all these other people, organizers, and we want to basically organize an event. The founders are basically overseeing all of our developments, if this is going to be a free concert that we want to put on. There's many different Aboriginal artists that want to put on a free benefit concert, and we're looking for sponsorship so that we can pay for the artists to come down. The artists will get a fair share of for their time, talent, and efforts. This will not be to make profit at all. If any monies are involved, the founders themselves will be taking care of that to ensure transparency. So we're working very closely with the founders on this, but these developments are in relation to what Idle No More can become, and what it's becoming is something great. So basically, this group, we got together, we want to put on this concert, and we added basically everyone that we knew that would be able to help. I added someone named David Cam, and if David Cam is out there listening, say hi. David Cam is connected to people such as like Bob Dylan and Jackie Chan, stuff like that. People like him, like them. He's very connected, and he's a founder of some organization. I'm unsure which one. However, his objectives are in line with ours. He helped put on the Idle No More event in Montreal. So it's very good to have him on board. Also, Star Nayea, I apologize if I get that wrong, from the United States, Aboriginal artist. She contacted with this other group that I'm involved with, the first group, Aaron Peters, Aboriginal artist Aaron Peters set up. She got a hold of APTN, and APTN is very interested in doing a live broadcast of our event. Also, there is someone by the name of Bill who is in the United States, and he has about $250,000 worth of live stream equipment so that we can broadcast our event globally as well as nationally. So we're going to be working together with them, and this collaboration is basically where I see like Idle No More can become. There's a lot of talk about leadership, like who should be in power, and I think those questions are okay. Someone wants to know about the up and coming event, more about the up and coming event. I'll get that into a bit, but I just want to touch on the subject of these collaborations and leadership, because there's a lot of people differing perceptions, right? They have differing views on what they feel should be done. And way I see it is that we should, doesn't matter about our views, we should voice our views and get other people to support us in that as well, and collaborate with other people and on acting on those views, enacting those views, right? This is basically what we're doing here. These Aboriginal artists, they want to do this for Idle No More, and we all want to help out in this way. So we're coming together, we're collaborating, we're working together with the founders. So it's instead of trying to find agreement, we can find shared values, and from that we can begin to work together. And we can attack this from all fronts. Everyone has a different perception, a different gift, talent, different viewpoint. And if we help all of us move forward with that viewpoint, I mean, it only helps the cause, right? We have this thing locked down, airtight, watertight, as watertight as a frog's ass, as my dad would say. Okay, that's why I believe this new focus should be this event. Someone asked that they want to know more about the up-and-coming event. It's going to be happening in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We're trying to get the Scotiabank stage if we can, but if not, it's going to be held at the another venue such as the Indian and Métis Friendship Center in Winnipeg. We want to have it broadcast live by APTN. We have artists such as Cheyenne Havorka. You can look her up on YouTube. We have other major artists. We want to get Derek Miller and some other people as well. But the original group that Aaron Peters started up has about 10 to 20 Aboriginal artists that are for these developments. They want these shows, and we're merging that with this group that Brandy Dewick started up. She approached me with this idea for a Central Plains gathering, that we have this gathering in Winnipeg, that we get powwow singers, musicians, speakers, and workshops and that kind of thing all together into one event. And this event is going to be basically a collaborative effort, and which is what we're doing now. We're going to merge the two groups that the one group that Aaron Peters started and the other group that Brandy Dewick started, and they express interest that they want to merge the groups together. So we're going to do that. David Cam got our first sponsor. We have one sponsor already for this event, And the way we're going to fund it is through sponsorship itself. The sponsorship would come from organizations that are in line with human and environmental rights objectives, because they're in line with our objectives. We're not going to, for example, get sponsorship from Budweiser or any corporation like that. Okay, so it's all going to be organizations that are for example, Amnesty International. Like, they would sponsor the stage or something like that. They do that. But we got approval from APTN. They're definitely interested. So we're going to be working on that, getting sponsorship for that, and also the live broadcast is going to be happening. Got a question from Joyce Hunter. Says labor unions wrote letters of support nationally as well as environmental groups. Can we invite them? Yes, definitely. That's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. The idea of relationship building and working together, that's what it includes, is that we got to partner up with unions, partner up with other organizations to spread the word, invite them, definitely invite them, even the live broadcast, since it will be available to anyone. There was that actually touched on something as well. Oh yeah, as well, another development, another recent development. I'm going to talk with the founders about this. I have not mentioned it explicitly. I kind of touched on, but I have not brought up explicitly with them yet, and I'm going to do so after this broadcast. But a member of the Anglican Church got a hold of me. We're talking about holding a teach-in for their entire congregation across Canada. The Anglican Church recently released a well-written letter in support of Chief Theresa Spence, demanding Harper meet her and uphold the rule of law, that he honor the treaties, he honor the Section 35, and that he has works together to build a better relationship so that we can coexist together. So they are basically supportive of us. They want to help out, but only in ways that we specify. So that's why I want to talk to the founders about this and get an idea of where they stand on it, so we can present the right information to them and we can tell them how they can help out. So to answer your question, short answer to a long question, long answer, sorry. Joyce Hunter, labor unions, we definitely should get a hold of them and basically tell them how we want them to help out. David Cam mentioned that too as well. Organizations, they won't help out unless we tell them how. We have to tell them specifically, give them specific things on things that they can do to help us out. So okay, I'm going to move on to actually the focus. Okay, we have a possible new focus. If you can see these constructive acts that we're doing here, this event that's coming up, this teaching with the Anglican Church, these kinds of constructive acts, not only are they legal, but they represent Idle No More in a more inclusive way that involves the public, the general public. The objectives plan of action by the Idle No More founders states that we got to build these relationships, build these understandings so we can stop this legislation. And these kinds of acts are a way that we can do that we can show to society that we are not just idling, that we're not just singing and stopping traffic, that we're actually enacting real solutions, that we're working together and we're doing these kinds of events with Canadian society and the global society as well. So that's the direction. My personal view is that's I think is a good direction for us, and the concept of leadership that I recently kind of helped her find when I was going trying to figure out, people are saying like there's division and whatnot. Basically, I wrote this. I'm going to reiterate with for you guys. Basically, I'm my only voice, and if I can articulate a position in which others are in support of and would like to see developed, then that means more power to the people. There's no need to look to anyone else to tell us what's good for us or what we should be doing. Right? If you have like a point of view, you can stand up and assert that. Nor should anyone expect anyone else to provide what we want for us without our own work. If any ideas are unpopular, they won't have enough support to be totally integrated to take over anyway, right? If there's an idea that someone is destructive, no one will support it and it will just fade away. So by working together with people who do support positive, constructive, creative acts, that are in line with the founders' original vision, those will receive support, collaboration, and the results will speak for themselves, right? So support, collaboration, and ideas would be supported, and critics who disagree with them would help point out aspects to consider and address. They'll they'll point out holes or something that we can patch up. That critics, that's their purpose, right? That instead of silencing people who disagree, we should encourage that dialogue. We should encourage that because it helps the whole. So in that aspect and in that regard, we can trust that we'll succeed together no matter what. No matter what, if we disagree or if we agree or whatever, as long as we come together like this, we're going to succeed. I don't concern myself with anyone's actions or intentions, because that's not my right to control nor dictate. All the control I have over is my choice to where I spend my time, and that's it. I can choose to spend my time, trying to fight these people and work against people, try to stop people, or I can spend my time and energy collaborating, creating, and expanding upon solutions with other people who have that same value, who share those same values, who want those same things enacted. So that means change can happen, but not from what side you're on. It doesn't matter what side you're on or what your views are. You just got to be on your own side. Stand for yourself. Stand up for yourself. That's what the founders expressed earlier, that the leadership should stand up, and that we need more people in our communities willing to take initiative. Yeah, you got to definitely take initiative. Support and collaboration will be produced in a direct proportion to an idea's effectiveness, the alignment to other people's values, and the initiative you take to make it happen. So the onus is on us. And on that note as well, on the note of leadership, very important thing on leadership that I've discovered over the 10 years of my journey to get here, is I notice about responsibility. One thing I want to share this with you guys too is a very important thing on responsibility. I found that responsibility, I used to think of it as meaning that I had to do something, that I was obligated to do something. Now I understand responsibility as the definition of not that I'm obligated to do something, but rather that I can do something. That I have the power to do something if I so choose, and that the power is ultimately mine to do so. That it's a very empowering thing. It takes the center of control, which is called external locus of control in psychology. But anyways, it takes the center of power from outside, looking to the government or anyone else and what they're doing. It takes that power and puts it back into where I have control over my own actions, my own decisions, and the things that I decide to do. That's where all of our power is. We have our own power, personally empowered. If you want to be a leader, if you want to be a leadership in the leadership role, you have to recognize that you have the power. In democracy itself, it's the people who decide whether or not things get pulled through or not. It's the people that have the power. And if you think about it, the only thing that gives the leaders that are in power, like I'm talking about like Harper and all them, is people going along with it, is people's perception. Is the power out there? I want to go here, is our treaty rights somewhere outside of us? Is that the thing that's fighting for us right now on a piece of paper? It's not. It is us. It is what it represents us. Our treaties exist inside of us. Our laws are written within the landscape, within every lake, river, and stream in this country. Our laws are written in there and in our hearts, and that's where the treaties are ultimately receive their validation, is within us. And that center of power is within us. It's not a treaty piece of paper. It's not a piece of paper that's fighting for us. We're fighting for that piece of paper, what it represents. We're fighting for what that treaty represents, and that exists inside of us. Because we see something that shouldn't be happening in the world. We think that the world could be run better. The corporations that are running up and doing this. We don't agree with that, and I would like to say that no one agrees with it. So this is a global effort that we're pushing on this, and this is how we can move things forward. as for solutions, these are just a couple solutions that I want to get out there that can let people know that we actually are working on real solutions, not just complaining or expecting anyone else to take care of us. I want to get this one idea out there real quick for any Aboriginal artist who wants to make more sales on their CDs or whatever. How about an Aboriginal social network, a music social network dedicated to Aboriginal music? There are companies out there that will allow you to purchase songs using your cell phone. There are already companies that allow you to purchase online using a cell phone. Not everyone has a credit card, but everyone has a cell phone today. So this will definitely increase sales for you. If you guys collaborate and create a social network, it'll receive international attention because there's nothing else like it. You guys are the only ones doing it. First ones to do it, 100% Aboriginal, Indigenous owned and operated. You don't pay for the service to allow the cell phone service. You pay per use, so there is no upfront fees. So theoretically, one can get started on this tomorrow. They can have it up and going, and donations coming in for the founders and for the movement. That's what I would like to see, is that the money goes directly to the founders, and that the founders have full control over it, full transparency over it. That's what we aim for. That's what we hope to have. So with that said, that's a little bit about leadership and about the power that you truly have. That we should be focused on empowering each other, and that's definitely one way we can do that, is recognize that the power is within us. I'm going to talk definitely about one of the things that, the solutions, the other solutions, sorry about that. The solutions that we also can enact, bring prosperity to our people, that is not greedy, that doesn't profit just one person or even anyone in general, is going to be for every single person. Quick example, telecommunications company. You can launch a satellite for about $5 million. If just half of our population, 500,000 people, sign up for either TV, internet, or cell phone service for only $10 a month, that would be about $500 million every 10 years. Every year it's going to be $50 million. So, and it's only $5 million to launch a satellite. That doesn't include money received from other cell phone providers for use of our towers, for use of our satellite service to better serve their customers. So we can charge a premium to them, which would drastically increase the revenue coming in for our nation. These would provide jobs, setting up the towers, the customer service, everything would provide jobs for everyone. We'd be able to link all of our communities together via satellite feed network, and we'd be able to have educate all of our youth the way we are doing right now. One teacher can teach a virtual classroom of thousands, so that would save money not only on tuition fees, but also transportation costs, and also address another issue that comes up where Aboriginal youth don't pursue post-secondary because they have to move to Winnipeg out of their remote locations, northern remote locations, and we can hook them up too as well with the satellite and the free education. That they have barely any resources, and I know that the AFN Youth Council, my brother is on, and Jerry Daniels is on, they talk about that as well, being an issue, that youth don't have much support, so a lot of them don't pursue post-secondary education. A guy who studied this, I have an article about it, he talked about the youth that do succeed in post-secondary almost always, if not always, had a mentor, a strong mentor that encouraged them, that gave them the support they needed in order to pursue that education. Okay, Lynn Gordon says want to relate information on conflict resolution, and definitely that's what part of the coming up here. I guess I'll move on to that. Okay, to focus. A lot of people I've noticed that they ask me about how do I resolve this conflict. Like, for example, someone mentioned they were down in the United States and they encountered the mall security, and the mall security says, "This isn't a reservation. Go home. You guys go home. We don't authorize this round dance." and they want to know how to basically resolve conflicts like that come up like that. And what I found in my own experience is that 33% of the people agree with us. They're on our side fully. Another 33% disagree with us, and we can't do nothing to change that. So doing so would only create more conflict, and it would not resolve any conflict whatsoever. But however, there is another 33% which are undecided. The best we can do is work on convincing that 33% that is undecided. That if we can educate them on the issues, they would be willing to support us, and we would achieve a majority, basic majority, which would then create what's called critical mass. And these ideas that we're advocating would then become accepted knowledge throughout society. That would be the ultimate, hopefully the ultimate end goal, is that we reach enough people that we can achieve that. So for when it comes to people who are like that are just set in their views, that aren't willing to look at the evidence, we can't do anything about that. However, I have encountered people that had their views set against us, and I was able to talk to them and basically get my point across, and that they actually listened to my point. And the way you do that is that you have to acknowledge their side of what they're saying. You can't just be trying to argue your point. Communication and relationship building, which is one of the plan of action, is one of those things is communication. Is that you have to be able to understand where that person is coming from, and without I believe it was author Stephen Covey says that first seek to understand, then be understood. 7 habits of highly effective people. Stephen Covey wrote that as one of the steps, one of the 7 habits. Seek first to understand, then be understood. Communication is the most important thing to relationship. That's what it is. The definition of relationship is that you're relating to someone. In order to relate to someone, you have to have a common ground. And if we are trying to reject their territory, which is their opinion, if we're trying to reject that, we're rejecting any common ground that we can possibly find. We have to find ways that we can connect to shared values, not agreeing on opinion, but rather things we can agree on that are concerning our values. For example, the waterways that are being up for grabs. We can all get behind that they need to be protected. We can all get behind the idea of the FIPA Treaty and this investor arbitration being, and the concept of corporation being something that's destructive for mankind, that we should not support that anymore, that we should move on to something new. These values, these are the things that we can start connecting on and start building relationships with other people and other groups. And also to address the, some people want to know how to be in touch with the First Nations people. Some non-Aboriginal people want to know how they can connect with us without by being respectful, by honoring our relationships and whatnot. But they found that they want to connect with us, but they're having trouble doing so. What I would propose is creating a group online that is designed specifically for this. That that we elect people around us that are involved with the Idle No More movement to go out and start building these relationships with them. Talking, finding a common ground, finding something, shared values that they can both work on together, that they can start collaborating with. This event that we're putting on with the Aboriginal musicians is a prime example of that. It's a prime example that, okay, Candace is just said that she's going to be right back. So Marianne, if you're listening in, let me know if there's any questions, important questions that people are coming up with, and I'll do my best to answer them. Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. If anyone would remember what I was trying to talk about, sorry about that. I'm going to have to move on because I totally forget. Okay, so the way we can do this is build these relationships and communicate like this. I found something by author Dave Logan that touches on this. Author Dave Logan studied organizations and what makes them effective, some not so effective. He studied like like hundreds, maybe even thousands of these organizations. But he found that communication and information sharing is the most important thing. It determines success or failure. There's five different levels of groups that he identified. First one is first two actually I'm going to skip over, and we're going to kind of get to the meat of this presentation. At a group of level 3, individual people want recognition. A level 3 group is all about who's getting the attention, who has the most contributions, who is the leader, kind of thing, right? So ideas are hoarded in fear that someone might get the credit or that others might hinder it, right? That's inherent in the mindset of competition, domination, pride, and ego, which is level 3. You know, people don't share ideas; they don't communicate these ideas for fear that someone else may take it. So that is something we have to definitely address if we want this Idle No More movement to be successful and to move forward. 70% of all social change movements fail. This is how we can maximize our chances of success. A level 4 group, which I found the founders of the Idle No More to be in, is very exciting. That's why I devote all my energy to supporting their vision, and will always take my direction from our women leaders such as Nina Wilson, Sheila McLean, top of my head, Sylvia McAdams, and Jessica Gordon, got y'all. And Tanya Capo too, she's also included in the United States as well. Moving along, level 4 group, ideas and information move freely and quickly, and collaboration is based on shared values, not agreement. And we don't agree on everything, but if we share the values and we have something to contribute, we work together. This allows for contributions from everyone because the shared value of wanting to contribute is encouraged and supported, not found in level 3 of domination and trying to be the one who's getting all the attention or all the praise. So level 4 is very important. It's the next step that we have to start doing, and what we're doing here is by partnering with unions, with the Anglican Church for the teaching, and telling them, basically expressing our desires, what we want them to help us do, which we'll put up for vote. We'll put something up later on asking you what you would like to ask them and what would you like them to do for us. Basically, level 4 allows us to do that, and it's all inherent upon building the relationships with other level 4 groups, other organizations such as Amnesty International, working together with them so that they can help out. Someone mentioned earlier that we can use unions and whatnot, work with unions, not use, that's a weird term, that we can work with unions and they can basically advocate our ideas and help us out. So that's a great idea, and that's something we're definitely going to present to the founders about. Level 5 group, this is what we're ultimately aiming for, is a level 5 group are people that change the world and make history. The focus is on the celebration and magnification of all that is good in life, the best in life, and the best that people have to offer. That group 5 is all about changing history. It's not about a group getting going and doing these great things. It's about all of life. It's all about the magnification of life, of everything in general, all encompassing and with future generations in mind, that we actually make actual changes to history. So level 5 groups is what ultimately we hope to create. And with these new developments that are happening, with the event in Winnipeg and these other things that can possibly come up because of this, we're definitely on the right track here. That's what I believe is a good direction for us. How can people internationally get involved? We have resources definitely on our Idle No More news group. A list of resources that we'll repost again, so you can get a hold of. It will contain basically videos, documents that will get approved from the founders that you can share in your community. Even help you put on like teach-ins, that we can host teach-ins like this, that we can get specific information that you guys are asking us to that you need, right? So that's how we can work together internationally and build relationships with our allies internationally here. Also here from Oppenheimer, how can we get elected to help with the connection process? with group looking to connect with us. Just do it. Take initiative. Take initiative. If you wanted, elect yourself. That's the thing about personal leadership, is that you have to elect yourself. If you have something that you want to contribute, and it will be something that's beneficial, that's positive and constructive, by all means, tell one of us about it. Tell one of the founders. Get a hold of any number of us on the idlenomore.ca contact us page. There'll be a list of us on there. The Idle No More news group is on there. You can get a hold of me personally or anyone else about this. So that's how we can begin this process, how we can begin working together like this. And it'll be on an individual basis, so it'll be, I can't say like this is how it's going to work out and this is what we're going to do. We'll work with you directly, and we'll say, well, this is what you guys are wanting, this is what our objectives are, and this is how we can work together to achieve that, right? So that's how we can begin that process. So I encourage you to get a hold of me or anyone else on the contact us page on idlenomore.ca about this. So basically what we're looking at ultimately is finding ways to work together with the people, the world, everyone else, so that we can coexist. We want to get rid of this legislation, the Bill C-45 and the FIPA Treaty and everything else that is associated with that. And we want to coexist. We want to create a better world for people, and this is how the world can get involved with it. That they can stand with us and forge together a new future. That's one that's going to provide the actual things that we're looking for, and this is how we're doing it. We're slowly getting up there. I mean, what I want to propose to the founders is new divisions within Idle No More. Not new divisions. For example, like news division. Idle No More news group doesn't have to necessarily be that news group, that news division, but basically we need a group of people that are in direct contact with the founders, that can verify information, that they actively seek out disinformation and correct it, that they inform the organizers of Idle No More objectives, and inform them, other organizers, how they can get involved. You can say, hey, there's this group over here. No, I mean, it's just basic way that we can make things official, that we can keep our organization focused, we can keep everyone on the same page, our voice unified, and our strength in numbers. So I want to propose that these new groups are designated. And hold on one second, I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah, we should get new groups. I'm going to present this idea to the founders, and we should get new divisions like this. A news division, not necessarily Idle No More news group. A division that will produce documents, standardized documents for everyone internationally, standardized YouTube videos for everyone internationally, explaining our movement, explaining our objectives, explain our history, our future objectives. A media group, we're going to need we got to get these things organized, made official. We'll talk with the organizers about them. Anyone who's interested, get a hold of me on Facebook, through Facebook, and we'll start doing all these connections, making these connections, and making these relationships and whatnot. Brandy Duke, how can we reach out to people on isolated reservations? Social media is an issue. Hey, that's a great question. Great question. There's a lot of reservations on northern communities that don't have access to Wi-Fi, stuff like that. So definitely we're gonna have to figure out a way to see. That's why I'm a news division, right? If we had news division, we would be able to have like a monthly newsletter that we can mail to them, that will be mailed out to them, and they can get updated on everything, right? And they can possibly use their band telephone to have live teleconferences with other groups, so they can coordinate with us and do that. So that's definitely a thank you, Brandy, for bringing that up. That's something we should definitely look into more. And these are the things too. Oh yeah, another division for ideas division, things that are like new ideas that people want to present, that they can connect and organize with other organizers. Everyone will be able to have a talented gift that they can contribute. So your talents are needed. Our people need you specifically, and this is how we can start organizing that and building these relationships, building the the platform so we can begin this communication, begin this dialogue, working together. So definitely, to address the isolated communities, I think we should have a newsletter that we can mail out. So funding is definitely an issue. Like again, this is all dependent upon you. You are Idle No More. You are the voice of Idle No More. So if anyone has a desire to help out like that, that's we encourage that. Elect yourself as say like, hey, I think we should do this. I'm going to find out who all supports this idea, see if we can get support for it and get it done, right? We need all the help that we can get. So definitely with that. Also, I wanted to in this broadcast, I wanted to address disinformation. The media is discrediting Chief Spence on her fast and all these other things. Even the titles of the bills themselves are cleverly disguised. Like the Bill C-45 and all that. They have these titles that make the public believe that they aren't what they really are. The hidden legislation with them in them is what we're against. But disinformation from the media will do that. They'll try to take an issue and they would try to blow out of proportion, make it into something it's not, or even if it's just a false issue, like the fact that they said Chief Theresa Spence, Globe and Mail published it, that they said Chief Theresa Spence was calling off her hunger strike. So they're spreading actual disinformation between the groups and between to society. And we got to address that. That's why we need a news division that we can address this disinformation as it surfaces. But you have to be aware that is going to be a tactic that they use, is that they're going to try to take either falsified information or they're going to take information and they're going to blow it out of proportion, make it into something that is complete lie, complete untruth. And they're going to use that to discredit the movement. They're going to use that to discredit the people, the leaders that are stepping up, such as Chief Theresa Spence. They're going to try to use that to discredit them and therefore the movement, that people just discredit the movement altogether. That's a tactic you got to be aware of. It's not all black and white. It's not right or wrong like that. The issues aren't that easy to be like. If there's two different issues, two different sides of the issues, it's not straight down the line who's right or who's wrong. It's more like these areas are right, these areas are right. Some places the areas are wrong, that they're wrong on those issues. But there are some areas that do apply and under certain circumstances, certain contexts. And there's a difference between context and content. The content about a certain issue is basically the facts. But the context is the meaning behind the facts, right? What it actually really truly represents. Like for example, content, someone firing a gun in public. That could be a bad thing. But if you put in a proper context, it was someone hunting, right? It was someone seeing a deer and it was hunting. In the proper context, the content changes. The content means something different. So context is always important, that we place proper context around everything, so that we don't reject the movement or the ideas that are actually beneficial just because this disinformation is coming out. And they'll try to do that, try to divide us with this disinformation and whatnot. So definitely that's something we got to be aware of. And another little insidious thing you must be aware of as well is how people spread lies. They try to act like they reflect our values, like they're with us. They would talk the talk, right? They would act like as though they support us and they're all good and whatnot. But they would these agent provocateurs, they pretend to be on our side and they talk the way we talk, but then here and there they agree with us. They tell us the truth now and then, but once in a while they sprinkle in a little lie, and they do that here and there, over and over again. So when we're looking at what they're saying, we're like, okay, that's true. Oh, wait, he must be for us, so everything he says must be true. That's not the case. Even with what I say, don't ever believe anything I say without you first checking the facts. I have 4 rules when I first came into the movement. Number 1, well, my personal rules: check your damn facts. That I always check my facts first before I believe anything. Number 2, Don't believe everything I see or read or hear. Related to number 1, check your damn facts. Number 3, take it easy, man. Chill out, man. And yeah, number 4, I forget number 4, but that's 3 of 4 rules that I had. But check your facts. Don't believe anything I say. This will help the communication process. If I'm wrong on some things, you can tell me, and I'll look to correct that. And I want, documented facts. We gotta start doing that. So if I say something wrong, I'm not trying to mislead. I'm just merely misinformed. So if someone would be as helpful to let me know, point out where I may be wrong on some things, and this will encourage personal leadership within you. It will encourage you to look at the facts objectively, for you to look at both sides of the issues, to look at all sides of the issues, form your own perspective, and use your own voice. So this is designed to empower you. So that addresses that. I mean, we can definitely deal with these issues the way we are right now by working together, by opening up avenues of communication. So basically, we'll provide everyone with the videos. If anyone has any questions as to the bills, the treaties, any specific questions, now would be a perfect time to ask these questions. I'm going to open up the floor for anyone who wants to know anything specifically. Floor is yours. You can open mic or whatever, and we will get to your question as soon as possible. But I'm going to be wrapping it up. I want to thank everyone here for being here. However, we got some important information, so stay focused. Stay tuned with us here. But yes, basically that's what's happening with Idle No More. We're moving up. We're integrating. We're becoming more. These organizations, we're going to hopefully publicly announce them. We're going to talk with the founders about them. We want to create new divisions. Well, I personally want to create new divisions. New divisions that will work closely with the founders, will work in line with the founders' mission and action plan. Anyone who wants to contact us, non-First Nations people want to work with us, contact me or anyone else on the idlenomore.ca contact us page. You can contact anyone through there. We want to build these things. Preferably it'll be with us, because we kind of understand why we're collaborating and why we're working together and organizing and whatnot. So Jolene Brown, how are you promoting non-violent ways of action? Great question, Jolene Brown. We have a list of resources on Idle No More News Group on the Facebook page. They have Albert Einstein's a lot of great resources. They have 198 non-violent means of protesting. One of which is very important. Some of our warriors have expressed interest in wanting to create blockades in order to shut down Canada's economy. Now, while that is illegal to do that, and the marches that we've been doing, stopping traffic and whatnot, that is illegal. That is against the law without permit. And I don't know if anyone's been receiving these permits, getting these permits, but it is illegal. So people, our warriors wanted to shut down the economy by doing so. There's a way we can do that legally. Megan got a hold of one of her friends works on the oil rigs, right? He's been watching her post closely, and he says, I work on an oil rig, right? And she says, hey, everyone's got to make a living, right? It's like, I don't care about that. You're your own person. You got to make your own living. I don't mind at all. So I'm against the corporations, not you. And he kind of smiled and he says, you know what? I'm telling everyone on the oil rig about this. I'm getting everyone on board with this. So imagine if we got the entire oil rig on board and they went on strike for us. Imagine if the unions that support Chief Spence went on strike for us all at once. A coordinated flash strike across Canada would shut down Canada's economy legally. And it would be keeping our warriors, our women, and our children safe from harm from the RCMP or anyone else. It will keep our people safe, and doing it legally and non-violent protesting means, as described by Albert Einstein's Institute, which we have the resources on the Idle No More News Group that you can find. Yeah. So basically, Jolene, to answer your question, that's how we basically would do it. Nonviolent means there's the resources there. They talk about the difference between nonviolent and violent revolutions, and they talk about the effectiveness of nonviolence compared to violent revolutions, coups, and that sort of thing. So that reference is available on I Don't Know More News. News. We'll repost it again so people can share it and they know exactly where to find it. Also, Wanda Lord, what is the strategy and what is the or are the outcomes you want to accomplish exactly? Oh, sorry. Also, before that, what will the marker of success be in terms of the offending bills? The marker of success will be that we actually get a nation-to-nation meeting with the Harper government or with Canada and the Queen, that they honor our treaties, the right to consultation before they make any amendments, which they haven't done. They haven't made any consultations with us when they made amended the Indian Act and also introduce these bills. So a marker for success will be that we get this meeting and that we begin new discussions on how we can peacefully coexist with each other, share the resources, and share the land together in peace. Also, what is the strategy and what is the or are the outcomes you want to accomplish exactly? I want to quote Dr. Pam Palmatier to answer this question. Number one, there are three goals in this movement that we want to see. Number one, remove all that legislation that's on the table right now until we get Aboriginal consent. 3, restore those devastating funding cuts. No, 2, sorry. 3. 3, set up meaningful processes where we can share the lands and resources. So that's from Dr. Paul Palmatier, spokesperson for I Don't Know More. So that's basically our objectives with this Wanda Jean, and that's our outcomes. And our strategy is, if you have any strategies, present them. Our strategy is your strategy. However you feel would get this message out there to build relationships, to uphold the mission and the plan of action by the I Don't Know More founders, that is basically our strategy, is working together, is collaborating. I gave the example of the group of Aboriginal artists and these other groups that are other people that are coming together. David Cam's connected to Bob Dylan. We're going to try to get him involved. He's connected to so many different people. He's got sponsors for the event already. So that's testament to the power of coming together, collaborating, and coming up with strategies like this. All strategies are valid, and they should all be pursued, all within reason, right? Just as a disclaimer. Dodie Ferguson, how do we argue the action in Sarnia? People claim economic loss and potential harm. I'm unsure about what that means. Like, how do we argue the action in Sarnia? I've mentioned earlier that an alternative to the blockade is that we can get the oil rigs on our side, and we can get them to strike for us. We can get unions to strike for us. Do a flash strike, coordinated flash strike that would legally ground Canada to a halt economically. So some of our warriors express interest in grounding economic things to the halt, and strikes are one of the 198 ways, just one of the ways that we can non-violently and peacefully protest these unconstitutional changes. So definitely. Natalie Crew, what is your strategy for dealing with the government agents and disruptors that may infiltrate the movement? The news division, that's why we want to work closely with the founders. We want to create I want to create a news division. I would like to see that, and if anyone else supports that idea, we should definitely talk to the founders about it. I'll present it to them after this as well, but I think I presented to Nina earlier, but I think we should have a news division that seeks out disinformation and corrects it, gets aware of people that have been spreading disinformation before, and if they have, informing them, educating them, and if they refuse to change their views, that we mark them as, okay, this person has been spreading disinformation, so that we're aware of it. And then have a news group, not necessarily I Don't Know More news group, it could be any other news group, that is working directly with the founders, like on this aspect, and that everyone understands that that one group, that news division, is the official news division, and that we can rely on information from them. So that's how we can how we can deal with these government agents and disruptors that will have already been in our group already, and how we can address them for time being, right? The best David Cam gave us information on that as well, advice on that for a while. His group was infiltrated as well when he created his in 2010. He found that if he just kept the group with people that were trusted, that were known to people, everyone else in the group. Like Jerry Daniels, for example, recently met with the ladies, the founders, and they're basically, you can trust Jerry, you can trust anyone Jerry trusts. So that's how we can begin building our network, that we can start expanding our network like that and be able to address the disruptors spreading disinformation, trying to advocate illegal methods, and trying to discredit our movement. Stephanie Evans, Pro Kitten. How do we get through to people in Calgary, conservative town, oil and gas town? Any suggestions? How do we get through to people in Calgary, conservative? My suggestion would be the power of people. People tend to listen to groups, large groups of large numbers of people. For example, if I'll talk with Megan about this, I'll tell Megan to contact her friend who's working the oil rigs, and if I can get them to write a public letter claiming this, that they support the Idle No More movement, we can circulate that in Calgary, circulate around and start promoting that to newspapers, to different media outlets. And the news division, if we create it, will be part of this, that they'll put up posters around the cities and whatnot, giving out information, handing out pamphlets, doing these kinds of things. We can organize this if we start working together like that. From Brandy Dewick, how can we help our brothers and sisters in U.S. support us here? It really depends. My suggestion would be to create a group. Like, Brandy, you're the one who came up with the idea for the current group that we have. I think we could start doing the same thing. Actually, someone added me to a group of organizers. They looked at all the people that organize events. Events for Idle No More, and he added them to this group. So through that, we can start doing that. We can start building that foundation of working together with them. Because someone did contact me too, Billie Jean. She's from the United States. Wants to know how she can help out as well. Sam Veckermans, he's our newest admin for Idle No More news group. He's helping out. I connected him to Billie Jean. They're talking. If Sam needs anything, Billie Jean is there to help out. We need a lot of help with the updating on the website, where I'm getting very busy. Everything I do is all Idle No More. But anyways, that's how we can start working with people in the United States. We build these groups, start this dialogue, and start connecting on this level. From Carol Reschke, explain what protected water means and results if 2.5 million water bodies are removed from protected status. Basically, the waters used to have a legislation that would protect them from environmental damage, and since they've been removed, these protected waters, basically oil interests can come in and they can basically dump anything they want into the water. They no longer have to prove that they will be safe to the environment, that they will enact measures that will protect the environment from environmental damage and pollution. Fracking has been shown to cause flammable water in Wisconsin. The Environmental Protection Agency released a report telling people not to drink the water, to air out the houses, because of the chemicals, the compounds that were used in fracking were found turning up in cities and municipalities' water supply, their drinking water supply, and that affects the environment. That affects all plants and animals, and eventually leads up to us. So, since they removed the protection, they gave China the ability, the go-ahead to basically go ahead with their oil developments, their harmful devastation things, and they are devastating because the ecologists at the University of Alberta found in a 2-year study of the Abascus River many dangerously high levels of arsenic, lead, copper, mercury. These things were found in a 2-year study, and they try to use scientists to disclaim them, saying that that's the result of naturally occurring stuff. But they were found downstream of the oil developments. They were found as a direct result to them, and upstream they didn't find them. So, evidence is right there. Also, Joyce Hunter, Ezra Levant is such a huge disinformation liar. How can we counter him? That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. It touches on a great topic about how we can effectively counter these things. What I found in my experience is if you're against something or a person, we only create more of it. What you resist persists. And the way we can address this is by basically supporting the opposite of what that person is saying. If he's trying to say that we're idle and that we're not achieving, if we're trying to whine and look for handouts, then we create things that bring us economic prosperity, that are environmentally safe, that do not compromise our sovereignty nor our treaty rights, that do not compromise future generations, that are environmentally safe, and a whole list of other ideas. That's how we can counter him, is by being for something, being for the exact opposite of what he's saying. For example, if I'm against hunger and I cut out the part of the brain that controls hunger, I solve hunger, right? People won't be hungry, right? So that's why being against something isn't effective as being for something. Being for healthy food for everyone. There's specific steps to that. There's specific plans. There's a chart you can path. You can path a chart. Chart a path? You can do something anyways with it. It'll be very helpful. But being for something, what we can do is organize together and be for the education of the public. We can be for the education of the public. We can support that. We can work on educating other people. We can help organize teach-ins. We can help get unions on board with this and organize teach-ins for their employees as well. There's a number of things we can do. We can create that news division, not necessarily idle, no more news. I'm not trying to promote us where it's all about us, not individual effort or recognition. We can get a news division that has these documents that we can start sharing around. So to address people like that Levant character who's spreading disinformation, we counter it by spreading the real information, by educating people. Big question is, how can non-natives help? Non-natives can help by contacting us, contacting anyone in the group. Go to idlenomore.ca, look at the contact us thing. Preferably Idle No More News Group, because this is through us, and I'm the admin for Idle No More News Group, and I'm connected to many other Aboriginal people who are actively working on projects, on things to be done. Some of the things that you can help out on is leafleting your areas, sending out pamphlets, inviting your friends, families, co-workers to online events, teach-ins that you can go to your community. If you're part of an organization or even your employees, your place of work, you can ask about organizing a teach-in. Say that, hey, these Aboriginals here. Here's a documented. Here's an official document from them stating what their objectives are, the illegal constitutional changes they're facing, how it affects us, and how we can help out. That we can have a document like that, and you can provide to your employer, to your organization, and they can basically organize teach-ins, because the first step we have to do right now is educate people on the issues. They have to be informed about what's going on, and then from there things will start developing. People, like, someone might want to help out by paying for an advertisement in a different country, explaining the idle no more and whatnot. So that's how non-natives can definitely help, is by spreading the word, education, unifying, getting grouping together like this, working, building relationships, communication, all of that. That's how we non-natives could definitely start helping out. Okay, I'm just going to look at the questions again here. Thank you so much, Candice and Marianne, for helping me out with the questions and all that. Jolene Brown, how is the nonviolent aspect being promoted? Just got that thing up there. Oh yeah, Jolene, we have the 198 nonviolent actions thing. Also some books from Albert Einstein explaining nonviolent action, how we can actually go from dictatorship to democracy. Also, Chantel, setting up a PayPal for donations would give resources for new letters printing websites. To address that, the founders, I'm not going to say that this is official, and I'm not even sure if I can tell anyone this. So if I'm crossing any lines here, I apologize. It's not my intention. Someone asked a question and they want encouragement about that. So Jess Gordon, one of the founders, told me that they're making a nonprofit for Idle No More, a nonprofit organization. So definitely the setting up of for donations, very touchy subject. We'll leave that to the founders. We'll let the founders deal with donations and any monies and all financial records. That way we ensure transparency, and that no one can come in for their own purposes to try to, benefit from this, from our plight, which I'm totally against. So yes, someone said, I have to go, Dallas. Can you send me a link to the recording later so I can watch what I missed? Let me know. I need help with anything else. Oh, wait, that's actually Marianne. Sorry. Okay, great. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. This is going to be hopefully the start of a very, very long and very fruitful and very beneficial endeavor for everyone. To recap, I'm a development professional. If you need assistance in that area, add me. Wanda, definitely add me. Look me up online, Dallas Kershane. You can email at me, dallaskershane@hotmail.com. Definitely looking to contact with other people who want to get involved and help out. We'll work on an individual person-to-person basis, so you can contact me. I just provide my email, dallaskershane@hotmail.com. Anyone who wants to get involved, help out in any way, contact me. We'll discuss it. We'll start talking about how we can work together and start doing this. And we'll start connecting people with the founders and whatnot. So can you tell me the title of the book you discussed in the last teaching? I talked about a couple books. First one was The Influencer, The Power to Change Anything. That's a great resource. Explains how we can achieve massive social change in a matter of days, not months, weeks, not weeks, months, or years, but massive social change within days. The Influencer, The Power to Change Everything. Check that book out. The other book that I discussed was Tribal Leadership by Dave Logan. When he says tribal and tribes, he's not talking about Aboriginal tribes. He's just using it as out of convenience. He's talking about groups of people, how people organize. And Dave Logan studied all these organizations, what makes them effective and what makes others ineffective. Great, so thank you so much for the stream. Do you have Twitter? Yes, I do. I'm on Twitter as well. I forget my my thing. I'll definitely have that ready for next time. But check me out. Follow Idle No More News Group. I'll put my information on there as well, so people can who've been asking for my information here can find it there. We're going to post the information I talked about earlier, some YouTube videos on the bills, so you can get more information on that, and as well as some more resources that are going to be very helpful for you. We're going to repost on Idle No More News Group fan page on Facebook, so we're going to do that right away. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. I would appreciate your feedback, so if you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, you can get a hold of me on Facebook. Can you please add me? Okay, I'm going to go through the list later on, so I just want to wrap it up here. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed what we had to offer today. If you have any suggestions for future topics, if you have any questions that you would like to know more about, definitely get a hold of us. So in peace and solidarity, coming live from Victoria, BC, this is Dallas Crochane. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great night.